So good morning, guys. It's Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. So the harassment continues. I was going to do another video this morning, but when I go to turn on my camera, as soon as I wake up, they know, and then they stop the pounding. So there's police involved. These corrections officers think they're police. And they continue this. And of course, I posted the comment that I got on my channel. It's pretty demoralizing because I'm shadow banned. So the only comments I get on my pages are basically their supporters, which are quite formidable, I must say. My mother's had these types of friends since I was a little girl. This Rena Misek, her daughter and granddaughter work over at the jail. So they thought it was funny to threaten people with gun violence, to make threats, to set things up so that they weren't the perps, which we know is a lie. And Rena knows it's a lie. And when I got to my mother's, I was forced to my mother's after they ransacked my apartment because she has friends there with my half-brother. See, a lot of these people work in the mills in Amsterdam, so they knew each other from the mills. And when I got to my mother's, I was forced there because they ransacked my apartment and stole everything. So I was forced to my mother's. They lied. I had to go to a psych ward. Yeah, imagine your own mother puts you in a psych ward because she makes up a bunch of lies about your childhood. And people are still out there defending her. It was one of the most horrible experiences of my life. I was in shock. I tried to tell them, what was going on, which was the truth. It was domestic violence. There's a history of it with my ex-husband. But of course, these people continue to use the police reports and the fact that all her friends lied for her. Imagine all her friends like Rena. Okay, so I get to my mother's. She's actually on the phone to her. Oh, yeah, they were having conversations on the phones just like when I was a child on the phone. Okay, so they did this as a child. She had this group of friends down to East End, and this went on all the time. She didn't want to be home. She was dating, she had a new boyfriend, and this is the way she lived her life. And I always tried to protect her. I always thought, well, she's able to live her own life, right? It was the start. Women would be on the pill. Women didn't have to stay married. Women could be out having boyfriends. And I was proud that my mom was a trailblazer. Little did I know that a lot of it was a lie. Actually, she was very spoiled. My grandmother had always been there for her, but for some reason, she didn't think she had to be there for me. So I grew up, I go on my own, I put myself through college. I haven't talked to my mother in 20 years of my marriage. She shows up with all these hateful friends of hers, smashes my computer. My dog was taken, my assets was taken over at the jail, and they all laughed and had a good time over there. So no, I'm not going to be off the internet. There's other kids involved. I certainly have suffered this throughout my life, and these people continue, and it has to stop. So now that her daughters, this Rena, are corrections officers, and certainly the same people from East End. Marie is a corrections officer, Tammy, her granddaughter, Mr. Spencer, his family's involved in law enforcement. There's other people over there that are connected, and they all, just like the police, from my childhood, Officer Cuddy, who took my brand new car, Officer Megna. I grew up with all these people, and they all get together and do this horrible thing again. Not only in the destruction of my career, which is bad enough, and my home and my dog and all my assets, but certainly now that I'm out telling my story so I can help other women not have to spend a lifetime, not have to spend a 20-year marriage with a man behind my back was telling everybody he had no regard for me at all. He was just using me. Imagine finding out that your this wasn't a man that fell out of love. This was a man who had no intention from the beginning to be my husband. And he had the support of my mother and all these other people. And then they lock you up in a psych ward. Yeah, they're going to lock you up in a psych ward. The lawyer lied about it. I was supposed to get time served because I was roofied and broke a string of Christmas lights. And they made up all this other stuff. So there was no, you're going to get time served right away. I'm in handcuffs again, being shipped off to a psych ward. So see, it's always the victims that have to bring about this stuff. It's the victims that have to push for the Epstein files. It's the victims that had to bring about a lawsuit at Montgomery County Jail about the food. It's the victims that have to keep pushing forward about sexual assaults in our jails. And I certainly experienced hearing from other women that were sexually assaulted when they objected to this officer Hool talking about how sexual assaults and rape are no big deal. You just fend off these people. So this is what started a lot of the stuff over at the jail. Right away, it's no big deal. She starts telling the whole entire pod. So a couple people raised their hands. Well, what happens when you're a child? I raised my hand. I said, you know what? I went unconscious recently, and I was still in shock over there. I was trying to piece things together, and I was still making incident reports and fighting to get my dog. I was told dog fighting was a big joke. I was told he was going to be used as bait. My entire storage unit was stolen, so my career is destroyed. And she gets these women to continue. She gets her friends, Phil Spencer, since they were kids. Bud, her boyfriend, and these other people went to the radio station all the time. The Spencers owned the radio station. So these people have been connected for a long time, through banquets, through the military. Mr. Bays was a Purple Heart. He was a hero in the military, and so on and so forth. Her next boyfriend was involved with the military. Her current boyfriend is a coach, so he goes to all these big conventions and these coaching things. And I was happy for her. I hadn't seen my mother in 20 years. She shows up with all these people again to prevent me from assets in a divorce to cover this all up. So no, I'm not going to stop. So I want her to get help. I always have, even when I was a little girl. I wanted things to be okay for her so I could, like this woman says, the psychologist that I'm posting, you try very hard to mother your own mother so you can finally have some peace and some safety. But that's what I'm doing for myself. I'm telling my story to help other children. There's other children up there. There's other people that possibly can't speak up because of their jobs. Right now, my career is destroyed. So this is the work I'm pursuing. This is what we're doing. This is what victims do. This is why the Epstein files are still being released in small little increments, because it's the victims that are out there pushing for change, pushing for things to stop so you don't have to spend a lifetime, just like those women, spending a lifetime. And now I'm sitting here with no assets, another trying to find a place to live, which when I was little, as a whim, my mother would move around. Beautiful, beautiful apartments they all had. But here I am again facing being homelessness again. Be safe, guys.